logistics and industrial parks. He is also the president of the United Economic Forum and the director of the Buhari Holdings and Trustee. So after graduation in marketing from Bentley University, Boston in USA, and obtaining a master's degree in shipping, trading, and finance from Cass Business School, London, he joined his family concern, ETA Ascon, Buhari Group founder by his father, Dr. B.S. Abdur Rahman. Sensing a shift in global economic balance, Mr. Buhari recognized during the early 90s that the energy business in India is set to leapfrog. With this in mind, he left ETA and launched Coastal Energy, CNO Group, in 1997 in India. His specialization stood him in good stead as he set about forging alliances and developing inroads with energy management with coal, shipping, logistics, and power generation. CNO's past and present partners include some of the largest blue chip global companies, such as Tadamco, Tata Group, Goldman Sachs, Itachi, BHP, Anglo-American, Sojitz, Mitsubishi, Morgan Stanley, Credit Suisse, My Home Group, Madras Cements, Total, SBI, Harbin, ABB, Samtan, Kidoko, etc. As a great believer in India, and particularly South India, Mr. Buhari was certain that power will be critical for India and Tamil Nadu. With this in mind, the group set up its flagship 1,200 megawatt coastal Energen Muttiria thermal plant in Tuticorin, catering to the power needs of the state and beyond. The Muttiria thermal power plant is today 1,200 megawatt site, which provides for expanding to about 5,000 megawatts in the same location. The IPP can cater to about 10% of Tamil Nadu's power requirement. So going forward, CNO aims to develop technology zones in South Tamil Nadu involved in renewable energy and transmission and distribution to fulfill its ambitions towards becoming a true integrated energy and infra company. From his early days, adding value to anything has been his motto. While building business run in the family, his other passion has been to actively contribute towards nation building. It is due to this burning desire that he started to work actively on promoting trade and investment into the T3 M4 projects, that is industrial zone between Trichy, Thoothukudi, and Tirunelveli in South Tamil Nadu, giving excellent existing infra and to be dotted with companies focusing on manufacturing 4.0. These schemes also fit perfectly with our Honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Modi's Make in India, Digital India, and Smart City, and other path-breaking policies. Besides the above, Mr. Buhari aims to facilitate global investment and trade into South India with specific impetus on Tamil Nadu and South Tamil Nadu. He is a multifaceted businessman. He is a cyclist, a deep sea diver, endurance horse rider, besides enjoying cooking, gardening, reading, and spending time with his family. So we're very privileged to have him with us. And now I would request him to address us and give insights on what he feels pre and post-COVID, sir. Over to you, Mr. Buhari.
Thank you very much, Mr. Praveen Matthew. Actually, very happy to be here among all of you. Thank you very much to CII. Before I start, very good morning. I think it's almost a good afternoon now. I am reaching out to you all from Singapore. So, Vanakkam to all my dear friends. Assalamu alaikum to my dear friends as well. So once again, I'd like to thank CII, Mr. Praveen Matthew, Mr. Dhanush Madan, and of course my dear friend Edwin Samuel, my dear friends from the TDB, for again having to put up with another boring, lousy session with me. And I'm sorry to be invited to bore you all again. I know you've been hearing, many of you have been hearing my whatever little bit I have to say, but unfortunately you have to put up with it again. So thank you once again. It's really nice to come in front of you and just share some of my thoughts. I have 35 minutes. Normally, this is whatever I try to convey takes about 3 to 4 hours. Since the agenda that we have for Tamil Nadu and South Tamil Nadu is quite intense. I'm sure you all agree. We have a great task ahead of us. So a couple of things. I'll just give you a little bit of background. It is going to touch upon COVID as well. But not just necessarily restricted to COVID. I just want to give you some thoughts on overall perspective of what we can look forward to, at least what we have in mind for the South Tamil Nadu, Thoothukudi, Tamil Nadu area. So before I start, I will just give you a flow of the session as to how we're going to take it forward. So Kamal, can you just put it up, please? So just got 4 slides. Thankfully, we don't have too many slides to bore you all with. So this is roughly the flow of the presentation today. So I just want to give you all first an introduction. Mr. Praveen Muthia was very kind to let you know, we all hail from Kilakarai, which is in Ramnath district. We are just an hour and a half away from Tuticorin. I basically started my career starting in 1991 is when the first generation reforms were started. So I thought people like us who are studying abroad should actually come back to India and start contributing towards the building of India. We went about and started our coal trading business in 1997. At one point of time, we were supplying almost 10 million tons of coal all over India. We started working on the power plant in 2006. It's a 1,200 megawatt power plant, which we have in Tuticorin, and a little bit more on the other items that I'm going to talk about. So let me just go back. Kamal, can you take this off? So this has been this is a little bit of my background. So basically coming from a small coastal village of Kilakarai, went ahead, was studying in the US and everything. Then wanted to come back to Tamil Nadu. Something kept drawing us back to Tamil Nadu. Ennan sollu theriyalanga. Man vasanai sollungala. We can call it as man vasanai, right? Even when I was studying in the States, this was early 90s, I had an option of staying back in the US. Of course, IT business was, very, US-based IT business was very fancy in those days. So one of the options was for me to stay back in the US. And I always kept thinking that, it's nicer to be doing things closer to home. And this was first generation reforms, Dr. Manmohan Singh and whatnot. So, but I can tell you one thing. I'm very happy that I came back, right? And doing things back home is a different satisfaction altogether. And I'm going to share a little bit of what all this means as we go forward. So like I was telling you earlier, we started our trading business in 1997. We went on to supply almost 10 million tons of coal to customers all over India. Then finally we decided to go ahead with a power plant. Power plant idea, I thought, one can be involved in business which will be able to touch a lot of lives. And power being one of those things, we thought, power will be an interesting area for us to start working on. And initially, we were looking at setting up the power plant in different parts of India. We were in Gujarat. In fact, Narendra Modi himself had invited us to Gujarat. We were looking at a power plant location in Karnataka. We were looking at a power plant location in Maharashtra. We were looking at a power plant location in Gujarat. In those good old days, 2006, there was a 6-7 period. Tamil Nadu was a power surplus stage. So at that point of time, Tamil Nadu didn't require much power. So normal December season, we all come back to our hometown of Kilakarai for weddings. So normally, usually for us, a family, in the December wedding or so come to Kilakarai. For those of you who know the Kilakarai area, I'm sure most of you know where Ramnath and Obviously, I'm sure all of you know where Thuthukudi is. But Ramnad also, I'm sure you know where it is. So I was driving from Kilakarai to Kutralam via Thuthukudi. And for those of you who remember the road in those days, either வந்து 2005-6 வைங்களேன். So if you remember those roads in 2005, it used to take 3 to 4 hours, 3 hours to drive from Kilakarai to Thuthukudi because of the roads. So thankfully I had an SUV. I was able to drive பண்ணிட்டு வரும்போது, so came via from Kilakarai, touched Thuthukudi, then went to Kutralam. So when I was driving from Kilakarai to Kutralam via Thuthukudi, all this large tracts of land was there. And upon this, some thought came up to me saying that, we are trying to do power plant in Gujarat, we are trying to do power plant in Maharashtra, we are trying to do power plant in Karnataka and all these places. We are so back home. This is like our place. And I can literally feel the manvasane. And the only catch at that point of time was that there was a power surplus in Tamil Nadu. At the point immediately people come and say, Thuthukudi port la those of you who are in the shipping business will remember, right? 8.7 meter draft. Edwin Anachi. Draft
8.7, yeah.
8.7 meters. 8.7 meter draft, 1200 megawatt power plant, 5-6 million tons of coal we have to transport. அப்போ எப்படி இந்த 8.7 மீட்டர் டிராஃப்ட்ல கப்பலை கொண்டு வந்து என்னத்த பண்றது? So there was a lot of confusion, how can you bring மத்த போர்ட்ல பாத்தீங்கன்னா அந்த டிராஃப்ட் at that point of time in the other ports is about 14 meters, 15 meters, 13 meters அந்த மாதிரி இருக்கு. நம்ம தூத்துக்குடி என்னடான்னா 8.7 meters. என்னடா இது சிக்கலா இருக்கு, இது 8.7 மீட்டர் டிராஃப்ட்ல எங்க இருந்து கோலை கொண்டு வரதுன்னு சொல்லி பார்த்துட்டு இருக்கும்போது, I told you earlier we were involved in the coal business. So in the coal business, normally we used to give fuel solutions for other customers. So Tata was a big customer. There were several other big customers in other parts of India. So we thought that what we can do is bring large size ships, rather the Cape size ship on the Panamax size ships, have geared Panamax ships, then lighten the vessel using barges. And அதுக்கப்புறம் 8 meters 9 meterல draft lighten பண்ணிட்டு அதுக்கப்புறம் கப்பல் உள்ள கொண்டு வந்துடலாம்னு சொல்லி we decided to go ahead on that basis. This was one assumption. And second assumption was that eventually as we go forward, இது 2006, 6, 7, 8, 9 periodக்குள்ள port expand ஆயிரும். So portல அந்த பேசும்போது சொன்னாங்க, there will be a lot of expansion in the port and everything. So we thought that eventually it will go to 10, 11 meters or whatever. So on the vahela eventually port will also scale up and so we went ahead with the power plant, and lo and behold, I'm very happy to tell you that today draft 12 meters on the 12.5.
It's 14.25.
14 declared now?
Yeah, officially.
14.25, right? Oh, sorry, that's what you've started bringing Cape size ships also, right?
Yeah, mini Cape.
I think part-loaded.
Baby Cape.
Part-loaded Capes have started coming. Sorry, 14.2 meters. So lo and behold, the port expanded, and இப்போ 2006-7 periodல launch பண்ணிட்டோம். Launch பண்ணதுக்கு அப்புறம் 2009 period வருது. 9ல தமிழ்நாட்டுல shortage start ஆயிருச்சு. When I think those of you who remember, there was a severe shortage of power. 9-10 periodல பாத்தீங்கன்னா it was really, situation was getting pretty bad. Unfortunately, 2009 என்னாச்சுன்னா the Lehman crisis started. And so financial closure became a big difficulty. So 2007-8 period, it was still a good period. By 2009 period, the financial market was absolutely in doldrums. And so somehow we ran to all the banks all over the country. We managed to get the financial closure, and we started construction of the power plant. So today the power plant, and most of you, all of you are welcome to the power plant anytime you want to come. So I'll just show you a quick photo of the plant. Kamil, can you just put up a photo, please? The photo on the plant photo. So this is your very own plant. I don't want to say it is our plant, it is your plant. It is every citizen of Thuthukudi. I think we can take a lot of pride in that this is one of our plant. plant உடைய பேருமே கேட்டிங்கன்னா it is we have called it as Muthiara power plant. Muthiara என்னன்னு சொல்லி கேட்டிங்கன்னா nothing but muthu, and in Indonesian language Muthiarana வந்து muthu, pearl. So that is why we have called the power plant as Muthiara power plant, signifying Thoothukudi and the pearl city that we are. And the pearl shipping என்னாச்சு, என்ன நீங்க pearl shipping தானே? Yeah, just getting that. So incidentally, my mother's name is also Muthu. My daughter's name is also Muthu. So adanal all Muthu and Thoothukudi, everything is all mishmashed and combined together, and this is our 1200 megawatt power plant. Of course, we've been struggling like many other power companies in India. The situation has been very difficult for the last 10 years since we've started. And but irundhalume, I think because the plant is in Thoothukudi, because the plant is in Tamil Nadu, because we feel that this is not just about a power plant, it is about an identity for Thoothukudi, it's an identity for Tamil Nadu. We have been fighting against all odds to keep it alive. And the plant is almost 8,000-9,000 crores is the investment. And most of the players in the power sector are struggling. But I'm happy to tell you that despite the difficult situation, somehow we are still alive. All thanks to the blessings of the Almighty and a lot of our friends who have been supporting us in keeping this alive. So just go back, please, Kamal. Right, so this is the power plant, and so this is a little bit of the background and what I've been doing in terms of plant and everything. If a futuristic I just want to give you a little perspective on what the future holds. Crisis is an opportunity, right? And I really do think, we are a company which was made in crisis. 1997, if you remember, if any slides are I told you that we started the company in 1997. For those of you remember, 1997 was the financial crisis in Asia. So that's when we started the company. So first trading company start பண்ணபோதே crisis தான். அதுக்கப்புறம் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா 2009ல அடுத்த crisis, which was the Lehman Brothers crisis. அப்பதான் power plant launch பண்றோம். So in 1997 Asian crisis, we launched our trading business, which went on to become quite interesting, successful, whatever. 2009 we launched our power business. Again, it was the crisis. 10 years the crisis face பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கோம். And now we want to launch this industrial zone, industrial park business again during the crisis. So normally, businesses get disrupted during a crisis. On the crisis, we always feel that, the hole is very deep and everything. But usually, if you look at the very resilient countries, companies, individuals, peoples, all of them become much stronger after a crisis. And I'm sure many of you would have gone through a crisis in your own lives or businesses, I'm sure. And I'm sure this crisis also, if we are able to seize the opportunity, we should be able to see phenomenal opportunity, right? There is always opportunity in crisis is what we feel. So little futuristic, let us see what the future holds for us. Kamil, go back, please. Just come back to the earlier slide. Right. So, இப்போ எனர்ஜினை பத்தி உங்கள்ட்ட சொல்லிட்டேன். Now we were discussing about the crisis, and some data which has been circulating around, some reliable data also, என்ன சொல்றாங்கன்னா, by 2050 India is expected to become the second largest economy in the world. It really is. ஏன்னா நிறைய பேருக்கு வந்து நம்பிக்கை இல்லை இது நடக்குமா இல்லையா அதுன்னு சொல்லி பார்க்குறாங்க. But we have to look into the future. Futureல பார்த்தீங்கன்னா we are talking another 30 years. In the next 30 years, we have a situation where India can become the second largest economy. Of course, there is debate, நடக்குமா நடக்காதா வருமா வராதான்னு சொல்லி debate இருக்கு. The only debate is whether India is going to become the second largest or is it going to become the third largest. அது ஒண்ணுதான் கேள்வியே ஒழிய, are we going to be one of the top 5 economies in பார்க்குற வழியில? There is no argument that we will be one of the largest economies in the world. So this is point number 1. That in the next 30 years, we are expecting India to become the second or third largest economy in the world. இப்போ இந்த சிச்சுவேஷன்ல பாத்தீங்கன்னா Tamil Nadu is the second largest economy in India. So Tamil Nadu, India is going to become the second largest economy in the world by 2050. And in the second largest economy in the world, we in Tamil Nadu are the second largest in India. It's a very, very unique position we are in, right? So, and because of the crisis, everything has been fast-tracked. If a post-COVID situation, you must be aware of all the initiatives that the government of Tamil Nadu, government of India is taking to attract a lot of industries back into India, right? Nariya incentives கொடுத்துட்டு Tamil Nadu government is also very active in embracing this challenge, and they have formed a high-level committee, chief secretary, finance minister, from industry minister, CM, they have formed a high-level committee to start attracting investments back into Tamil Nadu. And Tamil Nadu, we are in a very unique position. We are one of the few economies which are equally balanced between services and manufacturing. So Tamil Nadu is one of the few economies which is, matched between, services and manufacturing. It's a very, very interesting breakup. So this is one item we need to keep in mind. We really have to believe that we are one of the best in the country. First of all, we have to have the faith that we are among the best. We need to have the self-confidence that we are among the best. We cannot keep saying, government corruption. This is what it is. We are not going to be able to change the mindset of people which has been going on for hundreds and thousands of years. We can only change ourselves. We can only change ourselves, and we have to be. We have to make the change that we want to see. We have to be the change that we want to see, right? So, if India is going to become the second largest economy by 2050 and Tamil Nadu is the largest economy, namma enna pandrathu? So this is what we have come up with a small acronym called T3M4. T3M4 is nothing but Trichy, Thoothukudi, Tirunelveli, Madurai. T3M4 is nothing but Trichy, Thoothukudi, Tirunelveli, Madurai. 4 signifies Industry 4.0. The TNT signifies that we can all work towards aiming to support South Tamil Nadu become a $1 trillion economy. And this is all going to be aligned to the Chennai-Kanyakumari Industrial Corridor, which is a signature project of the Tamil Nadu government. Kamil, can you just put up the map, please? So I think many of you may have seen this map already. If not, this is the Chennai-Kanyakumari Industrial Corridor alignment. Starting all the way from Chennai, it is going to go all the way down to Kanyakumari. So this is called the CKIC, the corridor, Chennai-Kanyakumari Industrial Corridor, from here to here, right? And so this is the CKIC. Idhula pathina very interestingly for us people from Thoothukudi Tirunelveli area, in the corridor number 1 corridor pathina, it is going to be Thoothukudi and Tirunelveli. I think if you look at the industrial nodes, the number 1 node is going to be Thoothukudi and Tirunelveli. And adutha pathina, it is the Madurai, Dindigul, Theni, Virudhunagar belt. So between these 3 nodes, these are supposed to be the most significant nodes in this Chennai-Kanyakumari Industrial Corridor. Next comment. Just go back. Just go back to the slide. So this is the alignment of the corridor, and like I told you, what we are hoping to work on, back please. So what we are hoping to work on, map, just come back to the map. Go to the map. Yeah, so what we are hoping to do is focus on the T3M4 area. So that is nothing but the Trichy, Thoothukudi, Tirunelveli and Madurai. And this is going to be our area of focus. And like I said, T3M4, M4 signifies the Industry 4.0. And this is something which is going to be very significant, with something which is, what shall I say, which all of us can play a very significant role in taking forward. ஏன்னா உங்களுக்கு ஃபியூச்சரா பாத்தீங்கன்னா technology is going to be the name of the game, right? All type of businesses are going to be driven by technology. Industry 4.0. The Industry 4.0 is going to be taking over all parts of business. And நம்மள பொறுத்த வரைக்கும், if we are able to give a lot of emphasis for technology oriented business in this T3 M4 area, I think we will reap rich rewards. I'm fully convinced that technology is going to be the complete game changer for this part of the world. And this is going to be aligned to the Chennai-Kanyakumari Industrial Corridor. This is going to be aligned to the Chennai-Kanyakumari Industrial Corridor. Kamil, back please. Yeah, just come to the screen. Yeah, so this is going to be aligned to the Chennai-Kanyakumari Industrial Corridor, which is nothing but a project which is also supported by the Asian Development Bank, right? And enna mari business panna porom, I already told you technology is going to be the name of the game. And interestingly enough, I just read somewhere the other day, I think Edwin Anachi also told me this, that Zoho's founder, Sridhar Vembu, is now operating from Tengasi in Kealipattan. COVID appuram shutdown la அவர் Tengasi la operate பண்ணிட்டு இருக்காரா. And Zoho, for those of you who may know, is currently I think over $1 billion is the value of the over 1.2 $1.3 billion is the amount of business that they're doing. And I heard the company is now currently valued at about anywhere between 11 to 12 billion dollars. So Zoho today, operating from Tengasi and Chennai, is currently valued at $12 billion, right? And this is our own, Sridhar Vembu, our own person who has started the company. So our own person who started the company. So the whole point is, what happens if we are able to develop 1,000 Zoho type of companies? And எல்லாருக்குமே வந்து people start imagining, இல்ல அது வந்து எப்படி பண்றது, it is like a big task, how do we do it and how not, and things like that. But the point is, all these companies have one day started in a little garage. இப்ப பாத்தீங்கன்னா, you go back to Microsoft, everybody knows Microsoft, where was it started? It was started in a garage. Where was Sony Corporation started? It was started in a garage. Some of the most significant companies have started in very, very humble premises. So why not our next, technology leader be started in the T3 M4 area? Why can't we start it in the Thoothukudi area? If we've got enough fire, if we've got enough purpose, if we've got enough desire to do it, I'm sure we can come up with something. I'll just share some of the thoughts as we go forward. One of the other businesses, I think, which I think is going to be very significant for us, is the satellite business. I think last week, maybe some of you have been following our finance minister's announcement. இப்போ வந்து satellite வந்து they are allowing private parties to come in. இப்போ நம்மளை பொறுத்த வரைக்கும், why is it significant for தூத்துக்குடின்னு சொல்லி பார்த்தீங்கன்னா, now I really think that Thoothukudi can become a satellite hub for the world. Now, why am I saying this? One, I think all of you know that Kulasegarapatnam, we are going to get 2,000 acres of land. ISRO is going to come up with a launch station. Second, Mahendragiri has got roughly 10,000 acres of land, and they have been doing research in satellite launches for 20-30 years. Then you've got the whole satellite, the whole satellite ecosystem in Kerala. There are universities, there are institutions which are teaching, satellite-oriented business. Adukapram pathina, in Trichy area, we've got all the component manufacturers, which is what goes into satellites. And satellite business, and it's not just satellites, right? It is satellite and communications. Satellite and communication business, and people are saying that it is going to become a $500 billion industry in the next 10 years. So if we start making moves from now onwards, is it possible for us to reimagine the TT node, the Tendavili Thuthukudi area, as a satellite and technology hub? And this is a food for thought for all of us. And we will, let's do some more homework. We can do some more research. We'll find out what it is. We can go approach the government. You need an anchor business. There's got to be an anchor business, right? இப்போ முன்னாடி பாத்தீங்கன்னா ட்ரிச்சியை பொறுத்த வரைக்கும் BHL was the anchor business. இப்போ சென்னை பொறுத்த வரைக்கும் பாத்தீங்கன்னா like the Sriperumbudur area, automobile was the anchor business. இப்போ let's go to San Francisco. If you go to Silicon Valley and San Francisco, Silicon Valley businessல பாத்தீங்கன்னா HP, Hewlett Packard was the mother business, and the mother business was the printer manufacturing and computer manufacturing, which is what eventually led to the whole Silicon Valley. இப்போ நம்மளை பொறுத்த வரைக்கும், can the satellite business be our mother business? Considering that technology has got the highest value multiplier, so can the satellite business become our core business in this Thuthukudi area, which is something we can really think about. So this is a thought that I want to leave you with. And finally, how do we go about it, and how have we gone about it? And for those of you who know me and whatnot, so these are some of the values and some of the things that we've been living with. My colleagues, my team members, many of them are here. We keep discussing about these items. So I've just tried to bring our values and what has worked for us in just 5 words. There is more to it. I'll explain a little bit more about it. For us, purpose has been very important. What are we doing? Why are we doing? And how do we do it, right? So for us, serving the nation was purpose. For us, being in Tamil Nadu was purpose. For us, being in Thuthukudi was purpose. For us, supplying power to roughly, today we supply maybe 8 million people. We've got the capability to supply power to 8 million people. So that is our purpose. And passion. Whatever we do, we want to do it with a lot of passion, right? We want to be involved in what we do. We have to like what we do, right? So that is our passion. And everything that we do, I think we have to do with integrity. Integrity in all forms. Small things, right? 2:30, whatever, 12 o'clock is a meeting. Am I coming for the meeting at 12 o'clock, or do I come at 12:30? If I commit to Edwin and Archie that I'm going to, give a speech today, do I come for the speech or do I postpone it? So all aspects of integrity, right? So this, I think, has been very important for us. The other item which has been very important for us has been engagement. And engagement, being involved in all that we do, right? Really being involved in all that we do. And other item that we've covered is what we call as a value for all the stakeholders. How do we make it a win-win? How do we make sure that anybody who participates, there is value in it for them? And all this eventually leads to what we called as inspiration. If we follow all these items, hopefully this leads to inspiration. And another thing that we are trying to propagate internally is this thing called inspired leadership. Inspired leadership, I'll just give you a small slide. Kamal, come to it, please. Next. Next, please. Bain. So, இப்போ பார்த்தீங்கன்னா, this is what for us is inspired leadership. These are this has been developed by a top consulting firm called Bain, and they have listed out 33 traits which are very important for people who want to be an inspiration. And for us at CNO, trying to be an inspiration, aiming to be inspiring others has been a core purpose as well. That how do we do things which will inspire others also to do good, to do nice things and whatnot. So, நாங்களுமே இந்த மாதிரி values capture பண்ணிருக்கிறோம். We have got our own value system called Firepower. I already give you a summary of 5 of the values, but Bain has covered it very elaborately, and they say that 33 traits are required if one has to be an inspiration. And this is a very deep subject, and there's no way I can cover it quickly. So I'll just leave this with you. And so that's it. I think I've exhausted my time. I hope I've not gone over. Kamil, next, please. So just go back to the main slide. Yeah, first slide. First slide, yes. Come on, let's go back to the first slide. First. Kamal. So that's it. I think we've come to the conclusion now. So I gave you a little background about what we are all about. We've been always trying to be a nation building supporting agenda. We formed our companies, Coastal Energy 97, 2006. India is expected to become the second largest economy in only 30 years. And I think since India is going to become the second largest economy, we in Tamil Nadu and particularly South Tamil Nadu have got a phenomenal opportunity. I really do think Tamil Nadu is among the best, if not the best state in India for doing a whole lot of things. Then technology is going to be the name of the game. We discussed about Zoho. We did not discuss about Atos Intel, which is coming up in Gangaikonda. Apparently, Atos Intel, they have got roughly 2,500 people now. I believe they're going to go to 30,000 people. So that means the direct employment of 30,000 people, indirect employment of 90,000. So technology business is going to be the way forward. And particularly for us in Thoothukudi, Tirunelveli, satellite business looks like something which is going to be very exciting as we go forward. And, there's no need for us to be shy of thinking of big business. All big businesses are, one day were very small businesses. They all started off in a very, very small garage or whatnot. So why not the next, Amazon or Google, even, imagine that we can do it from the Thoothukudi area. And of course, we need to follow values has been very important for us. And these are some of the values we are following. So that's it. I hope it was a useful session. I'm sorry to bore you all with whatever I had to say, but Edwin and Nancy wanted to hear it. So that's it. I will just pass on back to Praveen and Mr. George, I think, and then we can take it on from there. Thank you very much, everybody, for listening in.
Thank you so much, Mr. Buhari. It was very inspirational listening to you. It's been, this has been a talk that has really inspired us during these times when everybody is very uncertain. And we thank you for being so candid and for a person who has actually built up and grown during times of difficulty. I think he's the right person for everybody here to address your questions. We'll be having a small interactive session. So I'm going to keep the floor open for a few questions, Mr. Buhari, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, I'm totally okay. No problem. I'm completely.
So we have two options. We have the chat box open. So you can either type in your questions and I can moderate it, or if you want to unmute because we have more than 100 participants. I was just thinking if you unmute the mic, it might get a bit of a chaos. So could everybody just type in their questions so that I could ask the questions to Mr. Buhari? We have one question here from George Vayai in Cochin, and he wants to know, he says, can you please elaborate on how the satellite communication ecosystem is going to emerge?
Well, it's very early days, as to how this is going to pan out. Right now, I feel that we have got all the pieces. The big pieces are there. The 2,300 acres of land, which is coming up in Kulasegara is a big announcement, right? And this we didn't know 6 months ago. Then Mahendragiri has always been there, right? Kerala has always been, the activities in Trivandrum has always been there. But with the ISRO station coming up in Kulasegara and the announcement last week, I think that is the most significant announcement last week. And this is a post-COVID announcement, mind you, that, they want to open up the, satellite business for the private sector. So it's really up to us how we are going to chart it out. And I think this is a task for CII, for TDB and all of us to figure out what it's going to be. How are we going to tie up with foreign companies? How are we going to invite them? How do we create the ecosystem? Because once you create the ecosystem, it's a role for everybody to play. So I think it's a long, it's a lot of work that we have to do, but I think it's very exciting that we are in very early days and the COVID has only fast tracked all of this. So this is what the crisis opportunity is all about.
So just a follow-up question after this. I think Mr. Murli from Venus Thoothukudi has added on to this question. He says, on behalf of the manufacturers of Thoothukudi, how do we get into manufacturing related to satellite business?
Well, that's the simplest thing. Today, the communication is so good that all we have to do is just get on the net and find out what's going on in the world, right? There's so much information available online. For us, the hard infrastructure is getting ready, which is the Mahendragiri is there, the ISRO is getting there. We need to now figure out what are the components, what is that goes into manufacturing of satellite components, what type of satellites are being launched. Obviously the big companies have to come in, right? I've always been joking that, we need to convince Tesla or somebody to come in. Tesla and I think Tesla and Amazon are the two biggest companies, launching satellites today. How will it be if we are able to attract them into Thoothukudi? And I actually went to see Tesla, right? And there's a lot of work we have to jointly do, right? We need to work with the government because they have to give enough incentives for these companies to come and locate themselves in the Thoothukudi, Tirunelveli area. And we people in Thoothukudi have to get ready to attract these industries. So we need to start looking at what is that we can do. If you are Venus, how is that we can get into the satellite business? Can we start roping in? Can we start making goods for them? Can we find out what they are all about and whatnot? So it gives us sort of a direction as to what we can work towards. So that's something that we can start working on.
Thank you. We have another question from Mr. Lal, and he's asking about how about the privatization of coal mining? And another question to add to that was, is the coal business, does the prospects look good with our finance minister addressing some issues on bringing in coal to India? Does that help in any way?
Sorry, what question again? Does it help? Does the privatization?
No, the question basically is, how about the privatization of coal mining? That's what he's asking.
I mean, how do I put it, right? I'm in the coal business and I'll be talking against my industry, but the reality is reality, right? Coal is a dying business. Yeah. And whatever said and done, we're probably looking at coal, going out in the next 10 or 20 years. And we ourselves, although we are a coal-based power plant, we're already looking at renewable energy and whatnot. But yeah, having said that, the next 10, 20 years, having privatized, allowing more players to come in, will allow us to pump more coal. But then, we are allowing it at a time when the whole world is shifting towards a greener world, right? So yes, it does help, but then is there a future for coal? So and most of the world seems to think that coal is out. So I think the reforms are coming in now at a time when the industry is on a downward spiral.
Yeah, so that's what he says. Added up, and he said, will government restrict coal imports in future? Do we have sufficient coal reserves in India? And so what about the future coal price in India? I think you've answered.
We've got sufficient coal. We've got sufficient coal in India. I don't think they're going to stop the imports because the cost of producing coal in the northern fields and shipping it to Thoothukudi and places like that is unviable. So many times it's cheaper to import. So I think the imports will continue. But then coal is a dying business, right? So it's a sunset industry. And I really think that satellite is a sunrise industry. So that's where it is. Yeah.
And we have Mr. Michael Mota, who's the Vice Chairman of Thoothukudi CII. He asked whether coastal Enercon can supply high concentration reject brine coming out of desalination plants to the salt industry.
A good question, Mr. Michael Mota. I've been wanting to meet you for a long time. Glad at least we are connecting up like this. I'm in touch with all your family members, and we are neighbors, as you know.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Vepalode, thank you for all your support there. We have looked at it in the past, and we were a little worried, because since the water goes in for human consumption, so we were always worried that, will there be any problem if we were to supply the water? But having said that, we are totally open for it. As long as it is safe, the water to be taken from us, and there are no issues, and we can jointly work on it. If it is going to help the local ecosystem, we'll be more than happy to support. And in fact, as a follow-up call to this, we can start working on it. My colleague, Mr. Salim, is there. I will request him and our team in Thoothukudi to start working on it right away. If it can be a win-win, we'll be more than happy to do it.
Thank you, sir, for your prompt action.
Thank you. Thank you.
Michael, can you ask the second part of your question too about the power? You can go ahead and ask.
Sir, my second question to you is whether we can, is there any possibility of entering into a power purchase agreement with the industry in Tuticorin and surrounding districts?
Possible for us to supply power, you're saying?
Yes, directly, because now we understand that a lot of power companies are directly entering into power purchase agreements with the industry. So one, we get at a reduced tariff rate than the TNEB. So whether it can be a win-win solution for both.
It's a bit of a dicey situation because, there's cross-subsidy, which Thoothukudi, what do you call it, Tangenco imposes. And this is one issue. Second is, for us to supply it, the quantum has to be large, right? We are a bulk supplier, right? So we need like 50, 100 megawatts at least. 50, 100 megawatts at least. And I don't think the load in Thoothukudi area will be that much. And then the other problem is we are connected to national grid. And the customers in Thoothukudi will be all the local grid, the Tamil Nadu grid. So again, there's an additional cost. So I think we may not be the most effective, but I don't think we'll be the most effective for small consumption.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We have another question from Mr. Farouk, and he says, India expected to tap most of the companies leaving China, but their efforts have not worked out. So he says, many companies are eyeing on Indonesia, Vietnam, Thailand, and Philippines. What went wrong with India's efforts to grab this opportunity?
Well, thanks, Farouk. He's my classmate, and he always asks all these tricky questions. He's Indonesian as well. Well, how do I put it? The usual culprits, right? And I think all of you know the answer. Our bureaucracy, our ease of business, our land acquisition, our land laws, and the usual culprits, right? And it's going to take a while before these restrictions are eased off. But the point is, if I were to talk on behalf of Thoothukudi and Tamil Nadu, we need to work around all of this and keep attracting the industries. How did we bring Hyundai? How is that Hyundai is one of the most successful companies in the world today? From Chennai, right? Operating from Chennai. How is that Maruti Suzuki is one of the most successful companies? In fact, Maruti Suzuki is today, the Suzuki company's India operations are more valuable than the Japanese operations. So how did it happen? So there are enough success stories in India. It's difficult, but it's possible. And I think we just need to keep working on it. And we in Thoothukudi will keep working on it. Vietnam is a good place. We can't talk about it. Indonesia is also a good place. So we need to keep competing, right? There will be competition among all these centers and whoever does. So when we move up the satellite business, Farouk, we'll forget about all these small fry business. You can keep it in Indonesia, right? And we'll, go up the value chain that there'll be no competition in the arena that we operate. So,
okay, thank you. Any other questions? Is there anybody else who wants to ask anything? Otherwise, okay. So I think, thank you very much for your interaction, sir. It was very useful for all of us. You encouraged all of us during these difficult times. And special thanks for you for coming and addressing us in such short notice. So I'd like to request the YI chairman, Thoothukudi, Mr. Dhanush Madan, to give the concluding remarks.
Yep.
Dhanush?
Good evening, everybody. It is indeed a great privilege to hear it from you, sir. It was truly very inspiring speech. This CEO Talk series is a part of the learning series which we have for the members of CII and YI. The main purpose is that to learn it from the industry heads about how the business is going on and what are the challenges they face. Maybe we learn it from you. So on that context, today we have got a great learnings from you. It is like things will be the same for everybody, but it is how you take it and make your business better out of it. More than that, it is the great thing is that you have given us a great dosage of motivation vaccine for us to fight this COVID economic situation. So it was really very motivating, sir. Thank you for being with us. It is truly an honor, sir. Next, I would like to thank you, sir. I'd like to thank the chairman of CII Thoothukudi and the vice chairman of CII Thoothukudi for organizing such a great event for the learning session for the members. Thank you, Mr. Praveen Matthew, and thank you, Mr. Michael Mota, sir. I would also like to thank all the past chairmen of CII and YI for being a thorough support always, and all the members of CII and YI for attending this event. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Real pleasure to participate with all of you. Thank you so much. I'm always available. Anytime you want any questions, always available.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.